Hey, I wanted to make a video, well, more of like a series of videos about this huge decision that I have recently made. I have been thinking for the past 2, 3 years about being an egg donor. I didn't really know much about it until recently. I just Googled about it and found where I just fill out an application and go through a process of filling out information about myself and my family history, and I could be an egg donor. So I filled out my application. It took about 2 to 3 hours for me to fill my application out, so it really wasn't too bad. I was really excited about it. Um, And the next morning, I received an email that my application was accepted. And about 2 weeks later, I received a text message from one of the people that work at the agency, the donation agency, or the egg donor agency, that there was a couple interested in me. And so they wanted to know some information about my grandparents and their cancers that they had, because I really didn't remember. I just remember that they had cancer, um, but I didn't know what kind of cancer, and so they wanted to know what kind of cancer. Um, so it was really cool. I mean, I just, I talked to my mom and my dad, found out, what kind of cancer they had, and I just texted a girl back and told her, this is what I found out, and she relayed that information on to the intended parents who were interested in me as their egg donor. Um, the I've been looking at a lot of videos. I've been staying up late at night trying to find everything that I can to watch about this. And, you see horrible, well, not horrible, but I guess, not the most heartwarming headlines on videos about, how to get, quick and easy money for your eggs. And then you have some really good videos, very few though, that I found, with some really great stories about women my age and older than me that have donated their eggs and had a really good experience with it. I am 21 years old, so I am at the very earliest that you can be to be an egg donor. They really want you to have a good family history. I mean, really, nowadays it's really hard to not have someone in your family that hasn't had cancer. But I don't have, breast cancer or anything like that in my family. It was just, what was it? It was Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a very, very rare cancer, but it's even more rare that it is actually passed on genetically, so that's a good thing. Um, it's it's hard to have a squeaky clean, health history. They really want, donors to be, in really good health. They don't want you to be overweight, and overweight is, obesity. That does not mean that you have to be, the skinniest person ever. I was born this way. I can't gain weight to save my life. I am on the verge of being underweight. I eat every day. I exercise enough to keep my body healthy, but not to lose weight, because if I did, then I would lose weight very easily. I was just born with a really good metabolism, and so they want donors who are healthy. The process of retrieving your eggs and the hormones that you take, you need to be in good health to be able to go through this process and have a successful retrieval. these parents are paying thousands and thousands of dollars so that they can try and get pregnant. They want someone who is healthy. If they're going to pay this money to, have a child, and it's not just the compensation that I'm being paid. It's more than that. What I'm getting paid is just a small portion of all of this. They're paying a lot more to go through this process in IVF. They want someone that is healthy. They want someone who takes care of themselves. Above all, yes, they want to look at your genetics. They want to know if your mother had breast cancer, or if your aunt had breast cancer, or if your grandmother had breast cancer, or any kinds of cancers. And don't lie about it. They want to know. The more honest and open you are about it, the better everything's going to be. I didn't know what kind of cancer my grandparents had. I just know they had cancer. That's information I put on there, and they asked for more information. I found that out. I told them, and they're still interested in me. They have that information about my two grandfathers and their cancer. They know that that's in my family. They know that's part of my genetic history. They still want me. Everyone's going to have something. I know I'm repeating myself, but everyone's going to have something. You are not squeaky clean. You may, if you think you are, there's probably something that you don't know. As far as getting information from your family, my parents still don't know. My aunt knows, which is how I was able to get some information about my grandfather. My boyfriend knows, and my sister knows. That's it. I got information about my paternal grandfather by asking my grandmother, and I told her it was something for school, that I was taking some genetics class, and they wanted to know, I wanted to know. So yes, I lied about that, which I really was interested to know, but I'm not ready to tell her. I will when the time comes, and I will tell her that that's what I wanted the information for, but I'm not ready to tell her yet, or my parents. I don't think it is worth telling them until everything's 100% and I'm starting the process. So if you don't have a way to get, your genetic history, if you have a family member who has passed and you don't know what they have passed away from, I'm almost positive that you, as a blood relative, are able to access if they have any kind of microfilm or anything like that at the police department, or something like that. I think you can access that. I'm not 100% though. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but it's worth a try. So since I have not actually gone through the process, all I can tell you is what I've been told. Actually, I think I have everything written down over here. Somewhere. So whenever I talk to the nurse, oh, here it is. I talked to a nurse. She called me. We set up a phone conversation, and she called me. I had a list of questions that I wrote down, and I, asked her, everything that was on my mind. I asked her about my risks going through this. Am I going to have any medical risks? Is there going to be a risk to my infertility going through this? What am I chancing? Because your compensation is for your time and for the risks that you are, that you may face. You are going to face. The compensation is not for your eggs. I'm pretty sure that's illegal to sell a body part. But it is for the time, the effort, and, mentally that you go through and the risk that you are put at. So I was told that through the certain agency that I am using, that there really is no risk other than, you are going through anesthesia, those kinds of things. If you do everything that you are supposed to, if you go to all of your appointments, if you are honest with them, there really is no risk. Because infertility, you do not have a risk for infertility only because you are born with all the eggs that you are, ever going to have. You release those eggs every month with your, when you have your monthly cycle. You are not you are going to be losing those eggs anyways. But before they even, say yes 100%, you are good to go, we are going to start this process, they do a thing called AMH testing, which basically, test to see, it's a blood test, and they do a ultrasound as well to look at your anatomy. But it is to see how fertile you are. If you are on the lower side of infertility, or the higher side of infertility, so you're not super infertile, but you're like not the most fertile person out there, they will not let you go through this process because that puts you at risk for infertility. Me, I already know I'm super fertile. I had a baby at 16. My son, have him. He's 4. Great, love of my life. I know I'm extremely fertile, which is one thing. If you already have a child, you're more likely to be chosen as a first-time donor. So also what they do during the AMH testing is seeing how fertile you are, and these tests will let them know how much hormones to give you so that you do not hyperstimulate your ovaries. Hyperstimulation is the number one risk that someone goes through as an egg donor. I'm not sure, I don't think every agency or every infertility clinic does AMH testing, but that prevents you from having hyperstimulation of your ovaries because they are constantly monitoring you and they're constantly monitoring your ovaries. They're not starting out at a guessing point of hormones. They know exactly how much to give you. They only let you donate 6 cycles. This is why they only let you donate 6 cycles, is so there is no risk. You are not risking your infertility. Which, I mean, if there is no risk here, you donate your 6 cycles, you still want to donate for whatever reason, you're putting yourself at a serious risk for your own infertility. I understand if that's something you want to do if you don't ever plan on having children, but that is a risk for the intended parents. You might not go through the cycle as well. The retrieval of eggs might not, the number of eggs might not be high. The parents, are also put at risk for the success of your donation cycle. So one of my questions that I had was about the embryos. So when they take out eggs, they take from 10 to 20 eggs, which is fine. That's a really small number compared to how many that you have. They will fertilize from, which I was told, 2 to 4 eggs become embryos. My opinion, babies. They are beginning to form babies. That is how the process starts. I completely respect if someone else disagrees with that. That is how I personally feel, and that's why I wanted to ask this question. If you don't believe that, that's fine. Perfectly fine. I respect your opinion, and I hope that, whoever is watching this respects my opinion. I wanted to know how many eggs would be fertilized, and if the eggs that were fertilized, if all of them would be implanted. Because I know they implant more than one. I mean, I'm sure if, someone who was the intended mother was very religious like I am, they may not want to fertilize all of their that many eggs. If I personally was going through it, I would probably say to fertilize 1 and implant 1. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, I haven't come to make that decision. So they fertilize 2 to 4 eggs. They implant 2 to 4 eggs. If they do not implant all of the, embryos, if they do not implant all of the embryos, then they will freeze the rest. And they freeze the embryos instead of the eggs because embryos, they really survive the freezing process a lot better than eggs. I don't necessarily agree with that. If I was going through it, I'd rather freeze my donor's eggs, and then, try later if I was going to have another child or if that pregnancy didn't work. That's my personal opinion, but I don't think they do it that way very often. So, if they, want to have a sibling later on, the embryos are there. They have a probability that the pregnancy, that embryo will not take and they will not get pregnant. It's much cheaper for them to go and just get the frozen embryos implanted instead of going through the whole process again. Which I'm completely okay with that. Completely 100% okay with that. I wanted to know if there was going to be any embryonic destruction. If any embryos were going to be destroyed or killed that were not implanted. Say they fertilize 4 eggs, they implant 2 embryos, they destroy the other 2 embryos. And I was told that the fact that these parents, these intended parents, are paying so much money for this process, for these eggs, and for these embryos, that they are probably 99% of the time are not going to destroy those embryos. They will freeze them, and I don't know what happens if they don't use them. But they will freeze them because they're going through all of this. They have them. They're there. The embryos are there. That, it's very unlikely that they would destroy them. So I have a lot of hope, and I'm very comfortable, and I really honestly feel like that would not happen in my situation, but I will never know. It's something you have to think about. So I also asked, about all this other stuff. I have the Mirena IUD. There's a possibility that I will have to get it taken out, which is perfectly fine with me. I've been wanting it out for a while, and I have like about a year left with it until it's time for me to get a new one. So, if they say, yeah, you need to take it out to do this, I'm on board. Let's get it out. But they also might let me keep it in, so we'll see. Either way, I'm perfectly fine with. The compensation that I will receive is $5,500 plus an instant upfront $500 for expenses. This includes gas to get there, and I'm not sure what else, but I will immediately upfront get that $500 for expenses. I've been thinking about some things that I would like to do, with this money. I don't necessarily, I don't need it for my day-to-day life. I don't live the most comfortable life, but I'm not struggling. I'm not in debt, so that's good. And I've been thinking about some things that I really want to do. One of them is I cut off all of my hair about a year and a half ago. I think it was January. It was January 2015? No. 14? I don't know. It was in January of some year. But it's been like a year. It's been almost 2 years. I think it was January 2014. It's been almost 2 years. And my hair was in a pixie cut. It was shaved on the sides. My hair, it's back right now. It's currently to shoulder length. And I have been interested in getting some permanent extensions in my hair for the past year. It's something I have really, really wanted. It's about $1,500 to get these extensions put in. I don't like the way most extensions look. If I'm going to get them, I want them to look like my real hair. So I found this girl in Dallas who does extensions, and she is absolutely phenomenal. Beautiful. Every single person who she does extensions on, it's seamless. You cannot tell that they're wearing extensions, and that is exactly what I want. I've always dreamt about it, hypothetically. How amazing would that be? I could instantly have long hair, the long hair that I've always wanted. My confidence would be, super high. I've always wanted that, but I've never had an extra $1,500, just laying around. Like I said, I'm not struggling, but, I can't just, come up with $1,500. Maybe if I saved for 2 years, I probably would. But I think that's the first thing that I would do, is use, $1,500 and get something that I've always wanted. I feel like this compensation is going to allow me to do things that I've always wanted to do in this period of my life that I can't, do some of those things. Not because, I'm financially struggling, but because, at this point in my life, I don't have extra finances to do some things I really want. Some other things I've been thinking about is a breast augmentation surgery. I had a child at 16. I nursed him for a year, and I've been very self-conscious, and I've wanted this for the past 3 years. I never thought this was something I'd be able to do at this age. I've always wanted it. I thought it was something that I would have to do, after I was married, after I had all my children, and I was going to be, 30, 32 years old before I was going to be able to get this done. The reason I want it now is because I'm 21 and I want to look like a 21-year-old. I want this for me. I don't want it for my husband. I don't want it for my boyfriend. I want it for me. And I want it now. I want to enjoy it now at this part of my life. While before I'm married and before I start having my children, I want to be able to enjoy it now. I don't want to enjoy it later. I want to enjoy it now. If that means that I have to get them fixed after all my children, then I will. And I'll enjoy it later on after that as well. But I want to enjoy it now. Another thing that I've been thinking about is, which I might do more than one cycle, and I might be able to do all of this. I really want to go to New York City for New Year's Eve. It is currently September, and if all this goes through, if this couple decides that they want me, which I should hear back any day now, if they say yes, then it's a real possibility that I might be able to go to New York City for New Year's Eve and bring in 2017 in New York City. Something I've always wanted to do. It's on my bucket list. I am big on my bucket list right now. I crossed off 2 things on my bucket list this summer, and it was the first time for me to do something on my bucket list. So I really would love to do that. And, going through this process and doing such a selfless act and doing something that I want to do for somebody else, not for the compensation, but something that I truly, honestly want to do and make a difference in someone's life and do something important for somebody else, this is just a bonus that I get to go and do something on my bucket list. So I've been thinking into that. I would definitely let y'all know afterwards and what I decide to do, and how all of this is going to make me feel, so happy internally and fulfill things that, other things cannot fulfill. This donation will fill, spaces in my heart that I know, I've always told my parents and my boyfriend that I feel many, many, many spaces in my heart for my children. When I had my son, when I was pregnant with him, this huge space opened up in my heart for him. And I know that, each of my children will have their own space in my heart. I feel like I have a lot of spaces. I don't know if that means that I will, personally carry and deliver and raise all of those children who have a space in my heart. Those spaces in my heart might be for the children, that I help, a couple have that is genetically related to me. That I may or may not, depending on each individual cycle, meet later on in life, 18 years from now. Which would be awesome. How fulfilling and amazing would that be? This is something that is going to bring a lot of joy in my heart, and I'm going to feel emotionally and eternally satisfied, by doing something like this. The bonus is that I get to do things and see things that I probably would never get to see if it wasn't for this. it's like their gift to me. The couple, it's their gift to me is to go and see the world or cross off my bucket list. So I think that's pretty awesome. So I will be updating videos throughout this process. I will make a video several times, I guess, during this, after appointments, before appointments, and keep everyone updated. So if there are questions, I will try to just put them in the comments. I will try to answer those questions to the best of my ability. So yeah, and I will keep y'all updated.